The burnt egg roll?
Where do you rank LeBron all time?
It's tough. I guess you got to think about it for a second. Jordan's obviously locked in number one. Like, I think so. I mean, I know, like, for us growing up, like, there was a lot of, like, Kobe, MJ argument. Like, people like to do that. I don't know if that's an argument in your mind. Is it?
No, it's not.
Because I know you're a huge Kobe fan.
Yeah, but I'm a bigger Jordan fan. And just based off of like the stats and the numbers and everything, you know, you got to say, you know, as great as Kobe's career was, I think statistically and achievement wise, MJ is just a little bit better, but yeah. Kobe did his thing.
It's tough. And then you got those guys in like past eras where like we weren't born yet for them, but they were also like incredibly dominant players, you know, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Will Chamberlain. Like those guys were just like cheat codes on their teams basically.
But it's hard to say because like the game was so different back then, right? The rules were a little bit different.
Like, so how many damn championships does Bill Russell have?
It was just a different game.
He got like 8 or something. I don't know, something crazy.
I think he has like 11 or something.
Yeah. Well, where do you put those guys? Because you're like a different era. The rules were different.
It was a smaller league.
And just to be honest, there were a lot more white players.
Yeah.
Not as good.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to rank like an individual player in such a team-orientated game, right? Because a lot of times a player's success depends on who they have around them. For me, in my mind, like a good scope is, would this player be able to dominate in any era if we're just comparing like individual talent? But I would say like Chamberlain and Russell, if they played in like the 80s and on, like I know that their numbers wouldn't be as good and Russell wouldn't have as many championships, I would say.
Yeah, then look at maybe like Kareem and be like, oh, his numbers were that good and he was in the 80s.
Yeah, Kareem, he's the truth. He's one of those guys that he's arguably number one of all time. But for us, I guess we automatically put MJ there because we've seen him play and we've seen what he's done, you know.
It's like I need to understand more of Kareem and see more of Kareem to know where to put him. I guess the most real argument we can have is Kobe or LeBron.
Kobe or LeBron.
Right.
Yeah, I guess as far as like playing against like in the same era against the same people type.
Yeah, and us also like spending so much time watching both of them.
But then I talk to a lot of young kids, you know Michael Jackson, like kids that are like early teens, and their whole mind is LeBron James because that's of their time, right?
Yeah.
That's who they look up to. They never seen Jordan play.
They never saw Jordan.
So everything they see is just highlights and his stats.
At least an awesome Jordan documentary came out this year. Yeah. You can watch that.
I assume you saw everything, right?
I have not seen it, dude.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet? Yeah, I think you'll like it. But it definitely does show Jordan in a different light, right? Or you didn't see it, but like, you know,
that's what I've heard from people.
But it just shows
you the greatest light.
But I mean, it was real though, because he's the one that he pretty much had his hands on everything, like how he was portrayed in it. Even though it might not be the best, that's who he thinks he is, right? He thinks he was that dude.
So gut call for me, I'd probably go LeBron over Kobe, and I'll just put LeBron at 2 since I don't know enough about the older guys.
LeBron over Kobe. LeBron over Kobe. Yeah, I can't even argue that, man, because we're old enough that we saw pretty much Kobe's whole career, LeBron his whole career, and it's still going, right? His stats at the end are gonna far surpass Kobe. He'll be one chip behind Kobe after today. He's right there, I think.
And just like what you said, that finals where they got blown out by the Warriors, I feel like we've just seen LeBron a few times like carry these like garbage squats all the way to the finals.
LeBron definitely does more for any team that he's on than Kobe. Kobe's like a straight scorer, but LeBron, he does everything. He just wants to.
It's the passing. It's the come from behind blocks.
I guess the biggest knock on LeBron, they would say, is that he doesn't close out games in the fourth quarter like Kobe. But
if you got to choose one over the other for that, you're probably taking Kobe.
But everything else, I think, who has a bigger imprint on each individual game, I would say LeBron.
Yeah, he fills the stat sheet up, not just points.
Yeah, I would say LBJ, by the time he retires, if he ends with like 5 or 6 chips, I think you can put him on the Mount Rushmore.
Most def, yeah. I'll say number 2 right now.
Number 2 overall right now?
Yeah.
I guess that we've witnessed, right?
Yeah, that we've witnessed.
Because like Magic and Bird, they were a little bit earlier before us, right?
This concludes our danse macabre.